The most unbearable bint in Hollywood has finally opened her mouth again and said something stupid on social media that has everybody in a little bit of a tizzy, with every single YouTuber who likes to crash out on this kind of drama jumping at the chance to make fun of her once again. That's right, Rachel Zeglar has finally opened her mouth. But sadly, it's nothing really too divisive or political. Instead, it's just attacking somebody who made a negative statement towards her. Someone who is unsatisfied with Rachel Zeglar's singing style. Which doesn't make much sense because you can't exactly change the vocal registry you're in, and it even makes less sense when you consider the fact that what they're complaining about Rachel Zeglar for being is very much in line with the actual Snow White cartoon. There's so many more important things first of all, for people to complain about, and second of all, so many more important things for Rachel Zeglar to risk exposing her for being a bitch about. Instead of commenting on someone who made a nasty comment about your singing voice and only your singing range, maybe make some statements about what's really going on. But that's something that she has to decide to do, or if she's even allowed to do, given how unreasonably strenuous Disney is on her marketing. Given the fact that Rachel Zeglar now has no actual press tours, no press junctions, maybe some interactions with influencers, and her and Gal Gadot have not been seen at any kind of press thing together in ages, mostly because it sounds like Gal Gadot and her really hate each other, given that one of them is Israeli and the other one really hates Israelites. But before we get any further, like, subscribe, and let's get into this. Now, as I mentioned, the fact that Rachel Zeglar came out and said something is like a field day to these people. Now, don't get me wrong, as you can see, I'm subscribed to all of these people. I love this content too, and I'm making it myself. I'm a sucker for a good trend. But as you can see, people immediately jumped at the ability to say anything that Rachel Zeglar has said. Even going back to my homepage, I'm sure it's going to pop up. It did not. Okay, here it is. Hypnotic even going out of his way and making a video on Rachel Zeglar 26 minutes ago, most likely responding to what I'm going to respond to right now. Everybody loves it when Rachel Zeglar opens her mouth. It is a free click. But the weirdest part is it makes no sense that Rachel Zeglar would crash out here because, as this article says, Rachel Zeglar fires back at Snow White fan criticism on social media, touts her role in major box office bomb West Side Story to prove her point, written by M. Montanaro. And like I said, this is really a nothing burger. It's really embarrassing on Rachel Zeglar's point to come out here and say anything whatsoever. With someone coming out and commenting, "No thanks, Disney wasn't so difficult to cast a soprano," to which Rachel Zeglar responded, "I am a soprano, West Side Story is now streaming on Disney+, heart apple emoji." And this is really a really weird thing, first of all, to criticize her on. So Rachel Zeglar is a soprano. I don't know why you're making fun of that. Or are you saying that she isn't in this song? But in all the songs she sings for the Snow White trailer, she is a soprano. That's the entire thing. Snow White is soprano and Rachel Zeglar is one. And every single song Rachel Zeglar has ever sang has been within the soprano octaves. I really haven't heard her do a whole lot of alto-based singing. So while this comment really is a nothing to talk about, there's nothing of importance here whatsoever, what makes this comment so spectacular is it highlights everything wrong. You see, Rachel Zeglar has been heavily restricted from doing any press tours, press junctions, or anything like that, and instead is being able to do heavily scripted discussions with influencers or just going out there and performing in a way that she can't make any statements. She has to sing and get off the stage, and that's all she can do. But the time that this story broke is absolutely hysterical because it breaks down a lot of issues with Rachel Zeglar right after somebody leaks a bunch of issues regarding Rachel Zeglar and how Disney's intentionally keeping her away from the marketing scene. And what's really bizarre is, as M. Montanaro puts it, this marks one of the first times Zeglar has directly engaged with criticism in months. However, instead of addressing the major issues fans have had over Snow White, her past comments about the original film, her political outbursts, or film's disastrous PR strategy, she chose to defend her own talent. And then of course they go on to ask, why is this the battle that Zeglar chose to pick? Well, I have the answer for you, and I'm sorry, M. Montanaro, you're kind of close, but you're wrong. See, M. Montanaro postulates that it's because Rachel Zeglar is a self-admitted narcissist. And while that is a huge part of the problem, she definitely is, studying psychology, but I can't diagnose because I would rather not be anywhere near this individual. The truth of the matter is, her problem is she is a Gen Z female. That is the sole crux of everything wrong with her right now. Now, if you want, you can listen to me discuss this at length on my good friend Theo Snodgrass's podcast, Touch Grass, where we discuss a lot of these gendered issues, both with men and with women, without being too manosphere about it. But the problem is, a lot of the culture right now for Gen Z women is one that really tells you you're the queen, you're a god, you're amazing, you're perfect, without them having to earn it. And that is exactly where Rachel Zeglar is now. Sure, Rachel Zeglar has a pretty nice voice, but you can find a pretty nice voice pretty much everywhere, because every single Gen Z woman is a prima donna who is obsessed with doing choir. I did choir for 8 years as a kid, and I knew a lot of girls and women who had the same singing chops as Rachel Zeglar. They're kind of a dime a dozen, because singing is one of the talent points that women can really get a lot of attention from. And then most importantly, the fact that she's a soprano, let me tell you, as someone who's been around choir kids a lot, The Sopranos are where women go who want attention. Because while most Sopranos can kind of sing in an alto range, the vast majority of Sopranos seem to have this airheaded nature about them. They sing in their head voice and their brain is filled with air. So it really lines up. It's not so much that she's a narcissist, it's that she is a Gen Z diverse woman who is a singer living in today's age and an actress. She's so full of herself because every single thing about her life has been telling her how excellent, how perfect, and how wonderful she is. The entire nature of the world as it stands, all about raising someone up like Rachel Zeglar to tell her how wonderful she is. And that's why she came out, she attacked people at West Side Story, she attacks people right now, she's out here saying that Trump supporters should know no peace, she's out here making all these statements, and Disney is doing everything they can to control her, and ultimately, they're failing. And there's one last bit of evidence. Now, Ed Montanaro says that Rachel Zeglar is probably a narcissist, allegedly, because they don't want to get sued, because of the fact that she generally engages in battles that she can't control. She can't handle any kind of insults to her self-image, and a few other things, such as being absolutely adamant and refusing to acknowledge constructive criticism. But here's the thing, Gen Z has the highest rate of self-centered and narcissistic tendencies out of any generation in a pre-pathological state, being that they aren't so over the edge that they're actually narcissists, but they have the highest rate of narcissistic belief and tendency out of any generation, meaning more Gen Zers are narcissistic as a whole. This isn't a Rachel Zeglar issue we're looking at, this is a culture issue and a generational issue that we're looking at right now. And it's perfect that Rachel Zeglar was the one who got caught in all of it because she perfectly exemplifies the issue, and maybe as we attack her, we can learn how to take down and solve this problem. And it's pretty easy for me to speak on all this because Rachel Zeglar is less than a year older than me. I know all about her situation because I grew up surrounded by countless different Rachel Zeglars, especially in ones who lived in liberal cities like Boston or DC. And this is the article that I mentioned earlier, how Rachel Zeglar is being really kept under wraps, that came out minutes before Rachel Zeglar blew up on social media again. Disney reportedly doesn't know what to do with the out-of-control Rachel Zeglar as Snow White promotion falls apart. And as I mentioned, this really goes into discussing the fact that they've canceled the red carpet events, with the premiere having absolutely no press being allowed to come. Instead it's going to be an incredibly controlled instance, which is something that is usually just limited to severe train wrecks, which this is. But this insider told Page 6 that Disney has tried multiple times to get Zeglar to tone down her controversial statements, but she has refused to comply. As the insider says, Disney's lead actress is out of control. They don't know what to do. She's an outspoken 20-something, and Disney's chiefs have called her directly and asked her to tone down her posts. They've called her management, but she won't listen. And that's really an issue. There are articles constantly being put out there how Gen Z is the worst generation in the workforce. Gen Z has no dedication to a job and have incredibly quick turnaround when it comes to a job. And while not all of us are like that, me being one of the few exceptions, yes, I'm a Gen X pick-me. Her severe problems with her self-entitlement and her self-image are exactly the issue at hand when it comes to a lot of Gen Z problems. So it's not really so much that we should be making fun of Rachel Zeglar, but the culture that we grew up in. Because it's not just Zeglar who has this problem. These kind of attitudinal problems are everywhere. Gen Z across the workforce are all refusing to toe the line, are refusing to behave, refusing to work in accordance with management and PR. And then they get shocked when they get fired or blacklisted for industries because, well, they've been a PR nightmare. As the insider themselves revealing that Zeglar's political outbursts, particularly her insistence on tying her activism directly to the promotion of Snow White, has made the situation even worse. It's been this way the entire way through filming, the insider said, but it's the tying of her politics to Snow White that's upsetting. And one of the other things that really needs to be marked is the fact that a lot of people seem to be under the impression, and there have been a lot of rumors, that Zeglar and Gal Gadot are almost never able to be near each other during filming or during promotion because they hate each other's guts. You see, Zeglar is an incredibly pro-Hamas person. Now, personally, I think that means she should go there and fight if she's really so pro. Whereas Gal Gadot is from Israel and fought in the Israeli army. Now, last time I did accidentally say Iranian, but that was a few months ago, so hopefully no one remembers. But because they are literally a part of oppositional ideologies, they are literally clashing heads constantly on something that Gal Gadot and Rachel Zeglar tie very importantly. And Rachel Zeglar believes that Hamas is an existential threat that she has to endorse 100%. Whereas Gal Gadot acknowledges that Hamas is a terrorist group. And because of how terrible Rachel Zeglar is, Disney is really having to make the decision to skip the traditional press interviews and instead rely on carefully selected influencers to help shape the film's publicity. Disney's leaning towards having influencers to interview Rachel and Gal for promotion days on Sunday and Monday. An industry insider told Page 6 they want to concentrate on the content. And the problem is, it's a little too little, a little too late. You see, this movie comes out in 4 or 5 days. There is no time to clean up the image, and so this movie is just gonna sit in squalor and suffer. So I really don't know what Disney was expecting when they hired someone like Rachel Zeglar, an entitled Gen Z brown woman who's known for running her mouth in previous films. And the fact she's brown isn't exactly an issue, but it's more of an issue in that they can't control her because of it. You see, the media is going to roast Disney alive if they really try to force someone of one of the protected classes from running their mouth. And that's going to be a huge problem for Disney. They really can't do anything to control Rachel Zeglar, because anything they try would be labeled as racist, sexist, or whatever else. It is a severe problem for Disney and their PR. At this point, they really should just stop trying to save the movie, just admit that Zeglar's killed it, admit that they're not affiliated with Zeglar anymore, and just cut ties, because there ain't no way you're going to want to work with her again. But that's pretty much what I've got. Let me know down what you guys think, and I will see you guys on the next one.